Good morning, everyone. Welcome in, and please welcome the first session of Demo Day today. I am Gina, Partner Success Manager at Rev Genius, and I am so happy to introduce our first startup for today, MeetRecord. Please welcome Sachin, the co-founder at MeetRecord, who's going to take us through their product. Over to you.
Hey, thanks, Gina. Thanks so much for that introduction. And thank you, Genius, for organizing this. It's a pleasure being part of Genius again. This event is very helpful to startups like us who want to reach out to the right audience for this to understand how we could help sales teams get more winning insights into their deals. I'll just take a minute to introduce us and what we do. So we are MeetRecord. MeetRecord is a revenue intelligence platform for growing businesses. So essentially what we do is help sales teams or revenue teams to identify gaps in the sales process, record the meetings, the basics of it, get transcripts, get summaries, notes from the meetings, integrate with CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, and so on, and also help sales teams understand where exactly they are falling behind in deals, what they could do better in terms of identifying those gaps in their deals. So we do that through different methods or different ways in our product. I'll just share my screen to show you what exactly we do in that. So yeah, there you should be able to see my screen any moment. There you go. So essentially, we cover three major modules, or basically how we help sales teams by, of course, identifying gaps in the sales process, helping plug those gaps with AI coaching, and helps sales team members collaborate with each other, managers collaborate with their colleagues, with their team members, and automating a lot of processes, one of them being CRM automation, wherein we auto-populate fields in your CRM based on the conversations that have happened on any of the platforms that you might be doing, like Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, or even any of the dialers that you might be using, like AirCall, Dialpad, and so on. So essentially, we help these roles broadly in any sales organization, starting with right from your sales reps, so your SDRs, your account executives, your managers who are managing these account executives, or your sales leaders who want to have a bird's eye view of what exactly is happening in your deals, what is happening in your where the sales team is falling behind in your deals. Essentially, sales operations, enablement, and revenue operations use our product on a day-to-day basis to understand all of these aspects that we'll talk about today in the demo today. So moving on to the demo. So what we do essentially is help sales teams to first plug into the calendars and kind of get all the meetings into MeetRecord. And based on the calendar events, NoteTaker would start joining and MeetRecord would start recording your calls, generating summaries. So right now we're on the dashboard of the platform where you can see a few meetings, you can see your pipelines, what are the deals which are stuck, which are the deals which are you're working on. And this can be completely customized where you can have specific widgets that you'd like to have on your home screen, either be that your performance reports, your calls, your objections, or your coaching inbox, anything that you'd like to customize or be on the forefront, you can bring it on the top right here on the home dashboard. So you can reorder your widgets where you have all the widgets and you want to, whatever kind of makes sense to you as a sales rep or as a manager, you can bring that up right up front in your on your home screen. Now, getting to the details of it. So what happens, let's say after a meeting happens, we record and analyze that call, and the analysis would look something like this. So of course, we capture the video, the audio, the screen shares, anything that was discussed in the meeting, that will be captured in the form of highlights. And these highlights or notes would also flow into your CRMs. Apart from the specific field informations, let's say if pricing was discussed, if let's say next steps were discussed, all of those fields can automatically be populated in your CRM without your sales guys having to lift a finger for that matter. Now, these summaries are pretty detailed. This is a high-level view of the summary. If you want to go into more details, you can always go into the outlines, where you can see a specific pointers in terms of what was discussed in the meeting. Or you want to jump to specific parts of the meeting, you can always jump by clicking on any of these timelines that you see here. If you are a more detail-oriented person, probably you might want to look for specific speakers or specific keywords in your transcript. Or if you want to skip that part as well, maybe you are the lazy type, you just want to focus on a specific set of things. Maybe it's your competitors, maybe it's your questions that sales guys were asking. I can jump to those parts right away from the point of interest right here. Again, these keywords or trackers, as we call them, you can customize them based on your business or based on specific things that you're doing, let's say, in your sales process. Now, getting to more details, if you are a numbers person, probably you would jump to the data in terms of what exactly your sales guys are doing. What are they doing in terms of talk ratio, how much they are talking? Are they talking too much? Or they are, in this case, let's say you can see 56% is the sales guy speaking and 40% is the customer. Probably this is a good ratio, a very good ratio in terms of interactivity or in terms of engagement with the customer. Or you can look at the questions asked. What is the question number of questions asked per hour? What is the longest monologue? Generally, in terms of customer stories, if the customer is kind of describing the problem statements, you can cover that in the longest customer story here. Now, if you look at some of the data which is pointing towards that the sales rep might not be doing too well, and you want to get into more details or nitty-gritties of it, you can always look at the coaching scorecard that we have here. So in our case, let's say what it does is the AI gives a score based on a set of parameters. Either you can decide that, or you can let MeetRecord kind of help you with that by helping you with some templates which are kind of standard. Or if you follow a certain script or a template for your sales process, you can always kind of go back to that and kind of embed those scripts right here into the scorecard that you see here. So we have a pretty good score here, 4.5, but they 3.4 actually, the overall score. But every pointer that you define, let's say these points that you see here, are based on which the scoring was given. And the AI would also give a feedback in terms of why exactly it gave a score of 4.5. Or in this case, let's say if you go slightly lower, you can see some of the improvement areas as well, where maybe this particular sales rep did not do too well in identifying, let's say, handling the pricing objections for that matter. So you can actually pinpoint to exactly where your sales guys could be needing help. And that kind of gives me a good segue to move into what exactly goes into creating these scorecards. Apart from, before we go there, probably there are some standard stuff which sales teams do quite often. There is, let's say, generate a follow-up email based on the context of the discussion, or maybe sharing this call with your customers or internally, or even, let's say, commenting or maybe tagging your team members to understand where exactly they went wrong. So I can tag my team members and say that, hey, probably you could have done this, handled this pricing objections in a much different way. So all of this kind of really helps in terms of identifying the gaps in your sales process. Now, getting to the coaching part of it, how do you customize these scorecards that we just saw? Is what we'll talk about next. So these scorecards are pretty customizable, as in like you can have different set of scorecards for different set of team members as well. So if you go to the scorecard here, so I can customize these scorecard based on what is important for this particular sales rep. So if I want to create a new one, I can always create a new initiative. Let's say if the sales rep was probably needing some help on the pricing part of it. So I'll create a pricing kind of scorecard. I can kind of keep it standard, strict, or stringent. I can choose the pricing one maybe, and then the AI will definitely suggest my certain things that I could embed in this particular scorecard. I can put a certain weightage to it depending on what I think is important as a part of my sales process. And once I have defined all of these pointers, I can actually go ahead and kind of go ahead and create this, and it will start getting applied to the team members that I tag here. So either it can be for the entire team, or I can tag specific team members who I think would need help on this kind of a scorecard. So you have different team members that I can tag here, and accordingly the scorecard will be applied to them. Or it could also be applied on specific, let's say, deal stages in your CRM. So that also helps in terms of identifying where exactly your team is needing help. Getting to the other part of it is basically your insights. So in terms of once the scorecards are generated, you'd want to see exactly how your team is doing on different aspects of the coaching scorecards that you created. So if I want to see which guys are pretty good at, maybe Rakesh is still mentioning pricing, but maybe there are some other guys who are not so kind of prompt in discussing pricing. Or if I want to see the interaction report for a specific team members, I can also do that right here through this interaction report. So, or if I am more interested in understanding where exactly I tend to lose deals or tend to win deals, I can see what exactly happens when, let's say, a particular competitor comes up, and what are the chances of winning my deal in that case. Or if I look at, let's say, a particular tracker in terms of what is my win rate against each of the trackers, let's say when introductions comes up or next steps comes up and so on. So this is another way to kind of identify like where exactly your sales team could be lagging behind. The other thing that you could do, of course, do is being able to identify certain patterns in the deal. That you could do, of course, in the these warning signs that we give as well. So I'll wrap it here. But yeah, if any of you think this could be useful for your sales team, we'd love to connect with you guys and kind of have a more detailed discussion in terms of the capabilities of the product or what exactly how we have helped a lot of sales teams in kind of plugging the gaps in the sales process. So my contact details are right here. In case you are not able to find that, it's right here. And I would love to connect you guys with you guys after the call on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, thanks. I'm done with my presentation. Probably